Hi, I'm Eliot from Magoosh, and in this video, we're going to be thinking about the 5 worst mistakes people make on the IELTS reading section. So let's start with number 1. The first one is that people read the reading passages too slowly and carefully. Now this probably sounds kind of funny to hear. Why wouldn't you want to read the reading passage slowly and carefully on the reading section? The reason is that you don't have enough time to read everything slowly and carefully on the reading section. You only have 60 minutes and there's a lot of material to read and 40 questions to answer. Most people have a difficult time getting through this section, answering all the questions in the time that they provide, if they're reading too carefully and slowly in particular. So what this means is you need to learn strategies for finding answers, getting answers to the questions, but also understanding the content the best you can without reading slowly and carefully. And the way you do this is by learning skimming and scanning strategies. Okay, so we'll talk about that a little more later in the lesson and some ways you can learn about skimming and scanning. But for now, just keep in mind, one of the things that you should definitely avoid is to read everything slowly and carefully. All right, now the second mistake people make on the reading section is that they read all the instructions for each question slowly and carefully as well. Okay, now why is that a problem? Well, the reason that people read the directions really slowly and carefully is because they're not yet familiar with the question types. Your job as you're studying for the exam is to learn about these question types so that when you get to the exam, you don't even have to read the directions at all. You know exactly what you're supposed to do and how you should answer each type of question. So the different question types, we've got multiple choice, true, false, not given, yes, no, not given. There's several types of questions that you need to know about for IELTS reading, and you need to know them all before the exam very, very well. Now, I said reading all of the directions is the mistake. You do need to read some of the directions, right? On some of the questions, like on short answer questions, they're going to give you a word limit, right? You can't answer with more than 1 or 2 or 3 words and maybe a number you can put in there. You do need to read those directions, of course. So you can't just skip the directions entirely. But the point is that you should not be reading all of the directions about how to answer each question, because you should know basically how each question is structured, what you're supposed to do, and how you should answer it when you get to exam day. Okay, now a third mistake that people make is that they spend too much time on questions, on really difficult questions, searching for answers in the passage. This is especially true for the question type true, false, not given, or the question type yes, no, not given questions. These are 2 very difficult types of questions on the IELTS reading section that you can learn about. We'll talk more at the end of the lesson about where you can learn more about these question types, okay? But for now, the point is that one thing you should avoid doing is wasting time on one particular question. So each question in the reading section is worth exactly the same number of points. Question number 1 is worth the same as question number 40. If you spend 2 or 3 minutes searching for an answer to one question, it's likely you're going to lose time and not have enough time or completely run out of time to answer easier questions that come later. The reason that yes, no, not given questions and true, false, not given questions cause a problem is that there's a not given answer choice. And that not given answer choice means that the answer actually cannot be found anywhere in the reading passage. Okay, so some people spend a lot of time searching for things that are not even there, that they're not going to be able to find. Okay, so here's the point. Don't get stuck on one question. If you are spending too much time, a minute or more, on a question and you can't locate the answer, you're not sure where to find it, it's time to guess and move on. Okay, a fourth mistake in the reading section is that some people get stuck and spend too much time really worrying about really difficult vocabulary, especially in the reading passage. If you come across words in the reading passage that you're unfamiliar with, don't spend a lot of time trying to sort out exactly what that word means. One of the skills that's really important in the reading section is to be able to skim in the passage, to look over the information in each paragraph and each part of the reading passage quickly, and to get the general meaning and to try to make inferences, to make guesses if you have to, about what the answers might be to the questions. Some students get really nervous and get really worried when they come across words that they don't understand and don't know really well. It's okay if you don't know all the words. You probably won't. IELTS reading passages are really, really tough and really, really demanding. But what you should get comfortable doing, what you should practice doing as you're preparing for the exam, is to read sentences, read paragraphs quickly, try to understand the general meaning, and use that and use your guessing skills, your inference skills, in order to answer the questions that you have to answer about the passage. It doesn't feel great. If you don't know, maybe you understand 95% of a passage, that 5% will probably make you really nervous, right? You'll probably feel like you're missing something, and maybe you are. But on the exam, you don't have time to worry about that. You need to really use your inference and reasoning skills. Try to think about the words you do understand the context of the reading passage, and use that information the best you can in order to answer the questions. The fifth mistake that people make is that they're unfamiliar with the various question types on the test. Now, this is something we talked about a little bit earlier when we were talking about not reading all the instructions or all the directions for each of the questions that you have. But here, what we're talking about in this is a little bit different. So IELTS has a lot of different question types on the reading section, and each of them has different strategies involved in order to answer the question best. So, for example, some of the reading question types will have answers that come in order in the text. So, for example, for multiple choice questions, you know that the answer to question number 2 is going to come after the answer to question 1 in the text. Okay, you can use that information if you know which question types have a particular order to the questions and which question types do not. Okay, so you need to get really, really familiar with all the different question types and all the different strategies involved to answer them well. Okay, so to do that, you need to go in depth into the reading section. And we have a lot of great resources for you that can help you to understand these question types and the different strategies you're going to need to answer them well on the test. If you look below, we've got a resource there that can really help in the description that you see there. It's a complete guide to the reading section where you can learn all about the different question types. You can learn about the different parts of the test and the strategies you need in order to do really well on this difficult part of the exam. If you like this video, check out these other videos as well, and they're going to help you learn how to do your best on the exam. Okay, see you in the next video.